talked about is how lucky we are to have you people. If it wasn't for you guys out there sharing these videos, it wouldn't work, man. YouTube buries us so hard. And even when they don't bury us, they bury us. It's ridiculous. So guys, like I always say, smoke that like button if you enjoyed it and roll this video up, pass it to a friend. You know how we do. Share the video. Sharing is caring. Cannabis creators, I mean, liking and commenting is great, but what you can really do to make sure we stay alive, you can send them money if you want, but short of that, share this video, subscribe if you vibe, share if you care. And that's a good opportunity to welcome some of my new members. I got to shout out. We got here. Welcome to Scott K. Welcome to the GRAMBOlogue, buddy. I saw you there. You just joined. Banjo 420. You joined right before the stream last week, and I was too busy boohoo crying to mention you. And guys, come on. I mean, do I got to say that tonight's guest is part of the GRAMBOlogue? I mean, Cortez the Conqueror, this guy, he is a legit creator. He's a legit fan. Come on. And we got Weedsconsin. Shout out to Weedsconsin out there. Crazy days. I've had a lot of crazy days, especially this week. I'll tell you that much. Got Jill. What up, Jill Sorbello? I talked to her just through a DM earlier. The man with the plan with the theme song. Cannabis 5. Big Gram Van, which is a goose. Bare Metal, Jimmy Anderson. I'll say it for you. Grambo for president. Mark Jr., Chunky Nugs, Perry Gerhardt, my man L420 DGC, and Fontucky, California, the first two GRAMBOlogue members. You guys, Fontucky, you beat Lloyd just by a teeny bit, but I consider you guys equal in my mind. I love you both. And also shout out to someone not on the board. Shout out to the Kansas Cutie. She's been repping out here she's GRAMBOlogue, she's GramFam, she's GRAMBOlogue. So shout out to you, Kansas Cutie. See you soon out there. That's it, man. Today, we're just gonna get into it. I'm gonna launch this link over to Cortez. We're gonna get right into it, man. So thank you guys who all joined the GRAMBOlogue. You keep this going. We're up to 17 members right now. About 21 is about where I can cash out of YouTube. They don't let you take less than like $90 or something out. So once we get to like 21 people, I can cash out of there, and I'll pay a nice editor to start working on some actual GRAMBO grows videos. So thank you guys. All you are my GramFam, but shout out to the Borg members. Shout out to the GRAMBOlogue. So today, guys, we're talking autoflowers. This is gonna be an autoflower one. It's one of the things, I don't know. It still is controversial. It's like pineapple on pizza. Autoflowers are controversial and they shouldn't be. Who gives a flying dick what people are doing in their own gardens or putting on their own pizza? Who cares? But that being said, full disclosure, haven't grown them, but I've done my research. So I have a few packs. I have right here. I actually have sitting within. I have some Ethos lemon cherry gelato auto. What was that, R3? Yeah, R3s. So they're taken to the threes, the fours, the fives, the Ethos calling over there. So right off the bat, my biggest video on my channel just crossed 72,000 views. Thank you, GramFam out there sharing it. Once again, sharing is caring. Smoke that like button, roll this video up, pass it to a friend. We love the sharing. The sharing is literally, that's the reason that video had so many views, is because you guys shared it so much. And the only reason I'm here every Sunday night is that you guys share. So I love all the other stuff, but yeah, let's talk about it. Autoflowers can be frustrating. The main thing for me is this concept that Cortez introduced in the Night Owl Seeds video of the bumper crop. The idea of like you're smoking the same, especially if you're monocropping, you got the entire same harvest. I've been monocropping my last few runs. And so you end up smoking, it's the dank, but it's a lot of the same dank, And so he's like, well, why don't you throw some autos into your veg tent? Just let them go. And then every now and then you got a little extra strange to smoke on. And I was like, all right. When you start talking about getting some strange, Uncle Grambo starts listening. You know what I'm saying? Jimmy's still here. Yeah. Night Owl Seeds, man, he's good people. So go follow Night Owl over there. And what's ironic is Jimmy, I shouted out. I got to it before. I accept your nomination, just straight up. That's what we're doing here. So yeah, the bumper crop, you know what I'm saying? It really changed the whole way I looked at autos. It's like this is a fancy thing we can kind of do to get a little bit silly. And so, yeah, last week I had a lot to say. My mom's passing, hanging out with my daughter, traveling. You guys, everybody, thank you all so much. Everyone that reached out to PJ Johnson, he got the message loud and clear. He messaged me. He's like, "What the fuck, y'all? You got a cult now, Grambo?" And I was like, we're cult adjacent. We're family. You know what I'm saying? We're GramFam. So thank you guys for reaching out to PJ. That warmed my heart. And yeah, follow that man because he Papa PJ Johnson, Papa Junior Comedy on Instagram. He's gonna be super famous. He's gonna be one of those guys. Oh, I knew about PJ Johnson before everyone knew it was cool. That's one of those guys. So follow him. Yeah, the bumper crop. That's a straight up Cortez quote. And so speaking of 72,000 view Night Owl video, that actually starred Cortez. He was the steak and potatoes of that episode. So immediately I was so busy this weekend, didn't have the kiddo for school. She didn't have school, so I've been up since 6 a.m. just going hard. And so then yeah, I saw Cortez was online. I was like, oh, let's get Cortez and talk about some autoflowers. And yeah, well, before we bring him in, I'm gonna take a little bit. I think I see him rolling a fatty over there or something. So, what are y'all smoking on? What are you guys smoking on? One of the mini flexes that I threw on from the stash guys. Like, what are you smoking on? And I was like, I actually am smoking on some live resin from the guy who invented live resin. This is from Kind Bill through the Jug Dealer 5.8 brand. He invented live resin. It's a Florida product. Ew, who would have known? Who would have thought that such an awesome thing would come out of Florida? But a lot of good weed stuff comes out of Florida. It's actually pretty crazy. You know, the two guys I work for, not for nothing, come out of Florida. Brett and Scotty, they met in the down in the Florida, and that's where my comedy career kind of started. The first ever long road trip I ever began started, and that's what I talked about with PJ. Oh, Cody smoking on some. You smoking on that vanilla fizz from Night Owl? That's pretty sick. So speaking of Night Owl, the last time I talked to him was because Cortez the Conqueror tagged this motherfucker. He responded and he gave us a little bit of love. I told him, I was like, look at this. My man's got the grow hat on. For you guys that don't know,
yes, I don't
push grow hats that much, but if you see Cortez the Conqueror sporting, and I think if I notice, I've been hanging out with Taking Tops so much. Do I see a Monkey Spunk shirt on as well?
Yes, you do. How's my audio, by the way?
It's not you're teeny bit echoey, but you're not feedbacking. Which the last couple weeks we've been having some feedback, so I'm happy to.
All right, awesome.
You look good.
I had to go with some backup headphones, so it's kind of a little bit of a pivot here.
Man. All good. Hey, when we're talking about the Autoflower King. Yeah, what you oh shit.
Speaking of Daz, I want to give Daz a big shout out. He actually just sent me like a whole fucking arsenal.
Wow. Yeah, he has probably Plague Run Nutrients, like makers of Green Sensation. They probably have the best merch of any cannabis company. But I'd say after that, it's Night Owl, man. He has those Funko Pops. He has the stickers, magnets, pins, and his stickers are cool. His stickers are like the owl dressed up like a Ghostbuster, dressed up like a Ninja Turtle. Like he's got so much cool stuff.
I just got a sticker from him that's like a holographic thing. Like it's almost got like you remember those things from when you were a kid? Like if you move it, it kind of moves because it's like slotted, like texture.
Oh, it's like the like double-sided holographic, like
yeah. So if you move it, yeah.
And then I always used it to play like 80s DJ.
Oh yeah, rub like a comb or something on there just to be obnoxious.
Pick up the bass. Bass. I'm dropping it. Cortez. Come on.
So what you smoking on there? Yeah, man. Grambo?
Like I said, so I have some of this live resin from Kind Bill. It's Gary Payton, grown by Jug Dealer Gabe. Who knows?
Dirty.
This is just pick, like Cortez. Do you want 70,000 views or do you not want 70,000 views, buddy?
Well, here's like 170 grams of Autoflower.
Oh, wow. What is it?
I'd rather not give this person any clout.
Well, can you not even say what strain?
No, it's lemon cherry gelato.
All right, lemon cherry gelato. Is it Larry lemon cherry gelato?
Yeah. One of them didn't pop, one of them was and one of them was pretty nice. It was frosty, but then that one ended up seeding out.
That's no good.
Some people just don't want to take the time to reverse photo period back to auto.
Well, he reversed it 3 times. I don't know what you do. Sometimes you gotta self, bro.
Yeah, but some breeders just put more work into their photo lines. I mean, I guess it's business decision. You can't really hold it against them. But
you had one time you sent me some Autoflower cannabis, and it's one of my favorite unintentional jokes ever. So like people in chat, like the old school photo containers, like you drop a roll of film in, they're black tubes with a little gray container. Right. And it's like, that's what we always used to put weed in. That was just like how we did it. Like all the M&M cases, M&M mini cases, photo cases. Yeah. And I got some Auto Bud from Cortez in a photo case. And it just is the funniest unintentional joke I'd ever seen. I was like, this motherfucker sent me some Auto in a photo. What the hell's going on here?
I actually remember what that was too. It was from Sweet. It was the Dark Devil Auto. It was like super purple, little bit of like a licorice taste.
All right, yeah. So hey, we can start right off the bat since I got a nice compliment on my beard and I do look pretty sharp if I do say so myself. Sicko's got a question for you. Grow dots and autos. You're officially in the Real Growers family. You're over there in that space with the dots and the charge. Are you using the dots for the autos? How do they do? What's up auto dots?
That's actually one of the best options, and if anybody was interested in trying it out there, you can go on the Real Growers website and use coupon code Cortez at checkout, or go to www.realgrowers.com/Cortez.
Damn, I don't even have a recharge code. I don't know how you're up there fucking schmoozing the bakery boss, aren't you?
I could actually call Scotty boss now. Yeah, that was actually within the past like week or two that just came through for me. That was pretty huge.
Well, congratulations. That's awesome. And here's the thing. I'll say the same thing about AC Infinity as I will about the Real Growers. No matter what problems people have with them, they're real people doing the real stuff, and it's hard to not sound like a whore. Like grow dots work, dude. Yeah. Like I remember I grew the emergency that I'm like, dude, I could have won hash competitions with this for sure. This emergency was the shout out to Hot Rod's Head Stash. He pressed this shit. It was fire. And it was grown 100% veg to fucking bloom with $8 of grow dots, maybe not $5, $4 of grow dots, preposterously cheap, preposterously effective. So I'm not sponsored by Real Growers in any freaking way, but yeah, if you're not the DGC, if you're not over on that Real DGC tip, fuck it, use Cortez at checkout. How much? What do you get off that?
Cortez, pretty easy. That's 10% off, and any order over $50, if it's within the continental United States, it comes with free shipping. So,
oh shit! So yeah, use it, man. Use it. Sign up to be a Real DGC and get 30% off of recharge. But if you don't want to go that way, then
if you don't get the Patreon, it's just another option. You know what I mean? Exactly. Like the other thing I say too, if somebody's like unsure about like the grow dots, maybe just get something small. Like you can literally buy as small a package is for 1 5-gallon container, and it's like already pre-measured and all that good stuff. So it's kind of like if you been thinking about using the grow dots, if you've been thinking about using the recharge, just start off small. Like you can see how it works.
Now I understand why Scott tapped you to be on his Grow Dots team. Okay. You
Well, I've
horn
been
out more than he
using.
does.
No, well, see, here's the thing, though, right? Here's the thing where I can say all this with a clean conscience. Every company that I have some type of sponsorship or some type of working relationship with, we'll say, is all stuff that I used to buy and spend my own money on before sponsorships, before agreements, before anything. This, like, with Grow Dots, my first bag of Grow Dots I bought off of Amazon. And hey, guess what? It worked. So
Yeah.
I'm not pushing anything that I don't use
So to answer the
personally, and
question
that B
before
that
we get
I
too
haven't
far
used to
away,
spend money on.
how do they work with the Autoflowers? Like, have you used them with the autos? Can we get a grow report? You say they work
Oh
better?
yeah. I would say that's actually probably your best bet with autoflowers
Interesting.
is the
Why
Grow
so?
Dots.
Is it just
Well,
because
for
it
one,
prevents people from over fiddling?
over fiddling, I mean, I really believe in like the KISS principle, like keep it simple, stupid. With autoflowers, especially in the first 21 to 30 days, like you really don't want to tinker too much. You kind of want to let things take their course. And with the Grow Dots, it's just the perfect release of the nutrient. Somebody was actually asking me in the DM because they were like, I'm really thinking about trying it for the first time, but they were kind of skeptical just because they couldn't really wrap their mind around like the concept of them. So the analogy I actually made for the Grow Dot was an everlasting gobstopper. You see what I mean? Because it's the time release. So, if you got a gobstopper, you're just getting those layers of flavors as it kind of like melts down. It's the same thing with the Grow Dots, and they're releasing the perfect amount of nutrients at that point of the cycle.
Nice.
Another huge benefit. I'm sorry to cut you off, but another huge benefit to the Grow Dots, no more Kale Mag. I don't own Kale Mag as a supplement. I don't got it on the side. The Grow Dots literally have all the Kale Mag that you need for your entire cycle.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, that's enough plug for Scotty. Jesus Christ. The whole end of it. But one thing with Grow Dots, they do not come with silica. So if you are a guy, if you're a grower that likes to use silica, I recommend some silicium from 5A distribution, jugdealers.net. No, get the fuck out of here. So
that's what I use. I use silicium.
Decide? Good. Chief use. How did you decide to pick the cherry gelato? Did you just get it from the crew, or because this is one thing that I've been thinking about? Like I have a big stash of Autoflower. I got a bunch of ethos, I got a bunch of 420 fast buzz, I got a bunch of night owl, and then as I go through, my first thought was like, well, I want to grow the strain that's like the dank. I want to grow like whatever GMO thing they have, but strain dependent. Everybody smoke and chat. How strain dependent is autos? Do you just kind of like grip and go, or do you have like a list of like sativa leaners or indica leaners, or like is it kind of just test and see? Is there any sort of database on how to choose strains to grow?
So, no. I would say this though, one of the biggest things about autoflowers is actually knowing what breeders to stay away from. A lot of people, when they're new growers, they get caught up in strain names rather than doing the research on like breeders and all that kind of stuff. Like they'll just go on like Seedsman or Seeds Here Now, and that like I did this like 4 or 5 years ago. You go off of nostalgia. So it's like, oh, the White Widow, oh, the Blue Dream, oh, the Sour Diesel, and it's usually something that gives you like a really fond memory from like, for me, it's like early 2000s. So it's like, oh man, I was getting this shit in high school. I want it again. But then you go through like ILGM, or you go through like Grower's Choice, or like anything else that's been third-partied and white labeled from some like basement somewhere in the Netherlands or somewhere in like Eastern Europe. And it's, oh my God. So, long story short, you really want to stick to American breeders, and then it's kind of like trial and error because some of the stuff that you have, like some of the stuff that I have success with, you won't have success with. So, it's like really finding breeders whose work kind of like lines up with your grow style. So, for like me
Okay.
personally, it's Fast Buds, it's Night Owl, it's Sweet Seeds. I pretty much got
Okay.
like my go-tos, and it's really the stuff that like I have the most success with. And one of the things I look for in auto breeders is consistency. So if you got a 5 pack, if you got a 10 pack, like realistically with a good breeder, you're gonna see maybe 2 or 3 phenos. Autos by nature, you are gonna get some wonky ruderalis because like that is gonna pop up. Like we'll just kind of keep it simple. So let's say you pop like a 5 pack. 1 or 2 of them's not going to germinate. One of them's going to do something weird. One of them's going to be maybe good, maybe kind of and then you'll have the one unicorn out of the pack. So with something like that, it really is a numbers game. And then like my advice is always to pop more than what you need. So that way you kind of have the mechanism in place to where you can cull. Because I mean, you'll see if something's not keeping up, if something's like this big and everything else is like 8 to 12 inches tall and you still got this like little 2-inch dinky thing. Like don't give that thing the benefit of the doubt. Just use your fingers, rip it out.
How dare you talk about my sex life like that?
They said it's like a button
We'll
on a
let that
fur
one
coat.
stay my man. Oh, holy crap. Hell yeah, dude. Because I've been thinking about doing it. I teased it as you were coming on. I don't know if you could hear me as I was talking about. But one of the
I did.
things that for me in our conversation about the night owl and the night owl video that I had made was your
Yeah.
bumper crop thing. I've been spreading this across the
Mm-hmm.
nation. The idea of being able to take things and just put them in there. So, but before I get off on that tangent, I took a dab and I go off on a tangent. I wanted to dig in more on what you said there. It was that what's going to work for you might not necessarily work for someone else. Well, that's interesting. What are the factors that would dictate something like that? Like what? Like so for me being like I'm using New Millennium and Cocoa right now, and like what would be different about that? Like is it environment, nutrients? Obviously, all of it's going to play in there, but what strikes you as specifically to autos? Because it's definitely I'm curious about. You're the Autoflower King of Chicago. People that are too young to remember, I believe it was Tommy Boy, Dan Aykroyd in that is the fucking Zelensky, the auto parts king. He's the auto parts king of Chicago, and so you're Cortez, the Autoflower King of Chicago. Cortez, the Autoflower King. You know, it even
I
comes
mean,
with a
as
jingle.
far as
So,
everybody's saying that too. It's spread through the internet like wildfire.
what's that?
But
The
oh,
Autoflower King?
Cortez, the Autoflower King, and then I try to be like
The
kind of like
Autoflower.
fake. I try to be like
It's
fake
got to be the.
humble. So I'm like, yeah, the
It's got to be
Autoflower
the
King, but according to Grambo.
Autoflower King of Chicago. He's from Chicago.
Oh,
He's got the goddamn team behind
Chicago.
him. What up, Joe? Yes. So yeah. Well, before I step on you with a bunch of Chicago accents, what
No,
would dictate
Bears.
the Bears? What would dictate a successful what's the inputs that make the biggest difference? Are we talking nutrients, environment? What do you think makes the
Those
biggest
all
difference in
play a
growth success?
factor, but like what I was saying, I don't know. I guess it's a little different from the question you're asking. Like there are certain breeders that like I'll kill with, and then like other people will like tell me, and it's not even like shade. Like, I'll put up some fast bud stuff and I always have good luck with them. But then some people will be like, oh, like the fast buds, they never work out for me, but I really like the night owl or some, you know what I mean? So I
Mhm.
I couldn't
Right.
really give you like I couldn't really quantify it. Like I don't know if it's somebody's environment, if it's somebody's watering practices, if it's this or it's that. But it's just something that I guess anecdotally I've noticed, like some people do better with certain genetics. So it's kind of like, I don't know. Once you kind of got like a handle on a breeder, you can usually repeat the success with that person.
I like it. No, that's 100% right. It's like Captain Obvious says, "Tika." That just sums it all up.
Oh yeah.
That was an era.
But
So
to
yeah, for
talk
people,
on your bumper crop point, so this was a bumper crop.
nice. And
This
so,
was
what's your tent setup when you do that? You're running autos and photos simultaneously, or do you have two tents going? How's that?
well, that's kind of the funny thing. This harvest, I went out to the cup, was gone for 5 days and 3 hours, but who's counting, right? So I come back, I got the cat in like the kennel thing. My wife, she's coming, but I just kind of like scurry up the stairs to go check out my plants. And to my chagrin, my Evo 8 had fallen on top of an entire tent of clones that was ready to be flipped. Now, I wanted to clone everything, but I knew I didn't have time to take the clones before I left. So I just kind of let it jungle out on 18 and 6. I was going to take the clones when I came back, cut everything down, maybe allow like 7 to 10 days for it to heal and flip to flower. Not the case. The light literally snapped every stem, every branch. So I ended up with like 40 something cuts out of that tent. Now that's my tent, and then I have a closet set up that's basically like my veg. I can stage things in there. I can get clones going. That way they're not in flower yet. I'm still respecting my local plant count, but I can kind of get things going ahead of time. It just so happens that those two lemon cherry gelatos, dumb fucking luck, right, were the only plants that the light didn't fall on.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, so now, right now, it's literally the matter of to have weed or to not have weed. That is the
Wow, that's
question.
hilarious. Yeah, dude, that's fate. I've if you watch the stream, people know I fucking wept last. Man, I don't know. I'm just looking at it. I've been saying this phrase recently, tabula rasa. It's Latin. It means like fresh
Viva la
start, clean
raza!
slate. I know tabula rasa. That's the white boy version. Although it's Latin. What skin color were Latin people? I don't know.
It
I
almost
don't know.
sounds like Viva la raza.
I know. It sounds like
Shout
that's
out to
when
the
I first.
neighborhood. Yeah.
Oh yeah, shout out to my neighborhood. That's for goddamn sure. My neighbors were lighting fireworks last night. Who the fuck knows why?
I just heard
I love.
fireworks maybe 10 minutes before I came on, but I'm not quite sure if they were fireworks or gunshots. I can usually
Well,
decipher.
in Chicago, 'tis the season. Summertime is the murder time.
Well, a fireworks got more of a bang, and then a gunshot's usually got more of a report behind it, especially if you're at a certain distance. So it's rather than a bang, it's a ta-da, ta-da.
See, Chicago folk they're gunshot connoisseurs. No, that one had more of a twang to it. This one, like,
Well, you know you're from Chicago when you hear gunshots and you don't run right away. You freeze up for a second so you can kind of like geolocate where it's coming from, so you can. Oh, yeah. Sign of a
yeah,
true
no.
Chicagoan.
Yeah, I lived out there for a year, like not Chicago proper, but Evanston, just out that little
Yeah.
suburb. And yeah, I got my little taste of going into the city quite often. And yeah, I mean, I live in Denver. That's yeah. Enough said. You guys got billboards out there, son. Here's what if you want to know about Chicago. It's just the billboard capital of America. You got so many crazy lawyers. Like you'll be driving down the highway
Oh
down
yeah.
there. There'll be a guy dressed as Tarzan, and it'll be like I'm the jungle lawyer. Call me now for your car accident.
We got billboards for everything. Like they got dispensary billboards, they've got gentlemen's club billboards. The mayor of Dalton used a billboard with taxpayer money for her re-election campaign. I think she's in a little bit of trouble right now.
Well, this is the home of Rob Blagojevich, you know. We always quote Rob Blagojevich in the
With Blagojevich, you know this, when Blagojevich checked into the feds, like when he got his number, I doubt they put that guy in general population. But when he checked into the joint, when he checked into the Fed joint, we had 3 Illinois governors in federal prison at the same time, concurrently. So what's that?
You know, it's like Heisenberg says, "The city is beautiful." It is though. It is. I've been listening to some more Kanye recently. He's always shouting
Streets gotta eat.
Yeah. I'm an old white guy. I'm just discovering, like, oh, this fellow was good. I'm gonna touch the sky, Cortez. I am gonna touch the sky.
I just might with some of this rosin over here.
Yeah, what do you smoke? Oh, you got the no, that's the live resin from Tropicana.
Yes, it is. This is the Sticky Lemons number 3.
I got a handful.
I also got maybe about 2 dabs left of this Mondo.
That's the Mando. I got some Chem 4. What do we got here? I got the sauce. It's just called the sauce.
Ooh, I don't know. I haven't tried that one.
I also got some garlic cocktail.
You got any of these? Which one is this?
You know who has
those?
You know who has those is my shout out to my Aunt Bev in Des Moines, Iowa. When I brought 3 of those to Iowa with me, and I feel great.
Shout out Aunt Deb.
Aunt Bev. Aunt Bev.
Oh, I said Deb. Oh, okay.
Me and Scotty both have an Aunt Bev. It's another one of those weird coincidences. Aunt Bev is like a weird thing. And so she was like curious. They're getting the medical rollout in Iowa. I actually saw a dispensary when I was in Des Moines. I was like, oh my God. They sell like boof 3% weed. So it's not it's not like
I just drove through the entire state of Iowa twice, and it didn't look too promising. From what is that, Route 55 or 80? What is it? I-80. Yeah.
I-80. Yes. That goes. Yeah.
It's like there were these like truck stops that were really like actually gambling parlors, and there was like 12 fucking people in there, and they were like going out to the cars, going back inside. They all looked to be Mexican Americans.
Yeah, using that.
Most of them looked wired for sound, and it was like 4 o'clock in the morning. There was about 12 of them.
All right, well, that's a good segue that we can get back onto Autoflowers, because the main thing I just crossed my mind as we're sitting there smoking for a sec. It's like I wonder how many people don't even really understand as they're listening to this Autoflowers. We kind of just jumped into it. You want to give a breakdown on like light cycle, like light schedule sort of thing? Like what makes Autoflower special, Cortez? We should have started at the beginning, but for those of you that made it half an hour in and don't know what Autoflowers is, like we'll just say example, like how do you run, even if not for beginners, how do you run your light setup? What do you like?
18 and 6 whole time.
Just straight
up. Yeah, straight up 18 and 6. It depends on where I'm starting stuff off. Seedling, I might do 24 hours of light, but it depends on what part of the assembly line that I'm germinating in at that moment. But I don't know. I mean, perpetual is the best way to go. Maybe get yourself like a little 2x2x4. You can get like 100-watt light, 100. I got 130-watt light in mine, but the thing never really gets turned up past like 2, 3. You know what I mean? It's just kind of
plants did you grow under
low.
that?
Well, it all depends. I mean, I like, oh, I germinated seeds in there, but I also got like genetic preservation going on because it's just like I call it a nursery. So I got clones in there, stuff I'm keeping around, just kind of cook it like low and slow so you're not really getting like the vertical growth. But if I am germinating autoflowers, I'm not staying in the solo cup past maybe like 3 to 5 days after it breaks from the soil. So that really doesn't need that much light. And then I'm going to a 1 gallon or I'm going to final container. But honestly, I do my best autoflower work with 2 transplants. Like, I'm not going to argue with anybody. Just scroll my Instagram. I don't know. I do my best autoflower work with 2 transplants.
Hey, this is the thing. This is why you the main thing that makes you the Autoflower King of Chicago is your willingness to F things up, try new stuff. That's what makes everybody great. You know what I always love that the Dude Grow Show not coined, but coined as far as like their cannabis motto is we're just learning in public, man. It's like we're not turbo experts on these things. It's just we're talking about it as we do them.
I think I've messed up enough to where I pretty much have like my SOPs in place, we'll call it. Like, I've messed up enough to where I just basically have like that system. And that's kind of what I was saying at the beginning. It's really whatever you have the most success with, whatever you have the best success rate with. Like, I don't know. I have people that will ask me like off the wall questions sometimes, like, hey, Cortez, sorry to bother you, but I was really wondering, I saw this video and I thought maybe I would try it. And it's like some type of advice that a content creator gave, to where it's like, well, if you germinate these seeds, but you're standing on your left foot and you hop up and down 3 times. I mean, there's times where, and it happens to the best of us, but as content creators, sometimes we kind of like jump the shark. So we'll kind of like make videos on stuff that's not really relevant, or it's some type of like fringe tactic to kind of like force content. Like, oh, I got to do 2 videos this week. Oh, I got to do 3 videos this week. And you just kind of make something that's just kind of like far-fetched, and then like people run with it, and then it's like a new thing, and oh yeah, I tried that. I don't know.
It took me a while to realize
like the new
people, like, this is like how people learn, and like it's high stakes. We gotta bring that heat.
I mean, it's kind of like the new age of the forum. It's like that telephone game within the community. I mean, if this was like 15, 20 years ago, there was still people like peeing on their plants and stuff. I mean, you got guys over there like
there's still people out there peeing on the plant. There's still out there peeing on the plants.
You know who you are.
Use more recharge, right?
Yeah. Recharge, not urea. Recharge, not urea, folks.
There's a new bumper sticker for Scotty. So one of the things that I got the most comments about on the video you and I did about the night owl thing, like most people were like softening to the idea, like, okay, autos have like caught up and they're like danking everything. And then they always would put, but you're still killing yourself with power. People are really hung up on the 12-hour cycle versus the 16-hour cycle.
Well, see, that's the thing. Like, if it's your veg though, right?
Do you pay a lot? Well, all right, because if you're mixing photos and autos, you don't
want to know. You don't want to know what my energy bill is. But here's the thing: like, okay, if you have a proper veg setup, and when I say that, I mean like maybe a 3x3, a 4x4, a 2x4. That's a dedicated veg. Your light's on 18 and 6, anyways. If you got a 4x4, like, there's no way you can't sneak 2 autoflowers in there with your clones that you're staging.
How often do you do that? Do you grow photos but then bumper in autos, or do you grow exclusively autos like right now?
Yeah, like, or even this, check this out, right? Let's say you have a clone run going, right? And maybe, let's say you're going 70 days. Let's say 30 or 40 days before you harvest, you get autoflowers going. So that's going to give you, it's going to take, we won't even count the first week for germination, but you could give yourself like a 3 or 4 week head start on some autos, right? If you got that in another area where it's vegging, you finish off your clones and you pull the autos in the tent right behind the photos. Let's say you give yourself 30, 40 days, you got another harvest within 40 days. So that's just one thing. Like you could kind of like ping pong back and forth, but it's almost like baseball where you're stealing bases. So it's like you're getting this going while this is going, so you can seamlessly transition a little bit more, get to harvest a little bit faster. That's where the bumper crops come in.
I feel like the bumper crop is the gateway sentence into growing autos. Just try it.
Right.
Throw them in there, man. Even if like they just got that one little cola, just how does that work? If you don't
Have you
transplant it,
seen Have you seen some of like the newer reels I've just put out in kind of like the past week? I've kind of been unrolling the Babylon Burning Selections autos that I got right now. These things are like, they're taller than my wife.
oh shit.
I got 3 plants. I have 3 autoflowers from this guy right now that are literally taller than my wife.
And what dictates that? Is it do they is it pot sized to make them get that big, or will they just go like will they keep growing even if they don't have the root structure?
Container size definitely plays a part, but it's what Scotty always preaches. It's just never letting your plants slow down, putting pressure on them, even just from a seedling. But yeah, container size does play a big part because you want something that is taller than wider. So I have these tall 5-gallon pots. They're like 10 inches wide, but they're about 12 or 13 inches tall. So the taproot has that much more of a vertical dive. The longer you can keep your taproot going unmolested and just moving through soil, you can actually get a longer veg out of that, and bigger roots, bigger fruits, right? So the longer you can keep your auto and veg, the bigger it's going to be once it flowers.
So standard growing rules apply then. One of the things I saw
But
in
see, that's
chat.
kind of the thing, though, right? So it's with letting your taproot go. Once the taproot hits something, like once your roots start to hit the outside of your container, with autoflowers, that can actually cue flowering. Like it can trigger the flower. So there are like little tricks along the way to where you can kind of extend the veg to end up with the bigger plants.
Yes. So what someone in chat had mentioned something. I don't think they were even referencing it about cups, and made me think about, well, one of the reasons that you're able to transplant twice without any damage, you have an interesting cup and cup technique.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's the triple cup, clear
Triple cup.
cup, 18 ounce, cut down the seam with the bottom cut out. So it's basically like a sleeve. You see what I'm saying? Then in
I
a
think we had
red
a little
solo.
glitch there. So I might have dropped out my internet there for a second. So we'll go.
Oh,
So
sorry
it's a
about that.
triple cup method.
Yeah. So it's a clear cup that's cut down the seam and the bottom's cut out. So it's literally like a sleeve. Then it's a whole 18-ounce cup that's got like paddle bits drilled in it and the corners cut out. Then another red saucer cup that just acts as a saucer just to kind of catch like excess water. But I'm not turning it upside down to transplant it into the 1 gallon. I'm literally just pulling out the sleeve. I'm putting it in there and then I'm delicately putting the dirt around it. And then you can kind of shimmy out the sleeve. But then even with like the 1 gallon, I like to use these ones. I get them off Amazon. It's actually kind of funny, like no sponsorship whatsoever. It's a Vivo Sun one that I like, but they're 1 gallons and they have a Velcro that goes down the side. So you can literally like peel it off. And you know what I mean? Like me personally, if I'm transplanting, I want stuff to be dry, like pretty much fully dry, but to where like the leaves haven't really started to wilt yet. So that way you can just
I'm writing down a note
like
in my tablet. I was like, at 4820, Cortez dropped some madness there. Like the peel away pots, Velcro pots, bro. There's your
that way you can lift it out. And once again, you're not tipping your plant upside down. You're not jostling the roots. You can undo the Velcro and kind of like pull around it. And if you get your dirt dry enough, you can literally lift it out.
Yes.
Sometimes it's not bad before you transplant to kind of like compact your dirt. So you know what I mean? So you're taking it whole. If it's too wet, your roots like will fall with the excess dirt. You know what I mean? I've done that before to where I have been transplanting, like even now, and like my container was just a little too wet, and my perfect auto, I just seen all the roots go with it, and it's still the plant. But even if I try to transplant it, like it won't grow beyond that point, and it just starts turning yellow after a while. It's like the kiss of death if you lose the roots while you're transplanting. So like you are taking a risk, don't get me wrong, and like I still fuck it up like sometimes just if I'm like not paying absolute attention or there's still like moving parts that can throw something off. But it's kind of one of those things to where it's like with great risk comes great reward. You see what I mean? So like you got to know what you're doing to transplant autos and to do it correctly to where you're not disturbing anything. And you might even still run into like a snag of something to where it gets messed up. But look, 2 auto plants gave me 180 grams dried and manicured of prime bud.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. That's and the thing about it, it's like because like see one of the questions that someone had brought up in chat was I don't think you've ever done it, but do you know anything about like how they would respond in like hydro systems? Like if you popped the seed and threw it in a Grodan block and threw it up on a flood table, you suppose
There's a girl that does deep water culture and she does a lot of autos. Her name is Cannabis Grows. I mean, you already know my position. If I have to pH, it's not worth it. Yeah, I refuse to pH. Like it's almost on moral grounds at this point. I mean, recharge. Shout out Scotty and the boys.
You either have two modes of action on that. You either get like what Jaron from Jug Dealers has is a pH doser, and he just goes very, very hardcore on his pH doser, or you go microbes. Those are your options. And so
microbes and living soil.
Yeah. Well, those guys are off on another planet. I'm such a cocoa centric grower. I just, I gotta cocoa. That's how I was raised. I'm a Scotty Real disciple going back to 2000. What? 14?
I've tried it, but I was just so dialed in with soil already that it wasn't what I had success with. So I just left it alone because it's like, how many crops am I going to have that are like subpar because I have this learning curve, or I can just go back to how I know I'm going to kill.
I was just thinking how it's like Subcool. There's Subcool who passed away, and there's probably some guy biting them. And if there's some guy biting off Subcool style, they should call him Subpar. Like, oh, you're talking about Subpar seeds? Yeah, get the fuck out of here. Just trying to steal up on that.
I definitely go hotter in the bottom third of my container.
Is that right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I layer my soil. I layer my pots. That way the roots grow into the stronger nutrients.
Yeah, yeah, that's one of the things that always made me scared about growing organically was the fact it's like I have to like this shit has to dissolve in like 8 weeks and be there, 6 weeks and be there readily available when I don't trust me. I'm a tinkerer. I want to get in there and just
Yeah.
mad scientist.
I mean, that's kind of what I do with the grow dots sometimes. Like you can actually hot rod the grow dots with some of like the new mill additives and end up with like some crazy stuff. That's how I think it was maybe like a year or two ago. I did a whole bunch of like Fast Buds auto testers, and that's how I got the success with those. It was from hot rodding the dots.
Yeah, we went hard on the dots earlier, but I told
Oh yeah.
Scott I was like the hardest thing about selling grow dots is that it sounds too good to be true.
Well, I
And then
mean,
once you grow
well,
plants with them, you
grow
go,
dots
oh, they
will
actually
get
freaking work.
you grow dots will get you to harvest, but like if you are a tinker, if you want to play around, because like there's other thing, you know what I mean? Because it's like you can get a new Volkswagen, but do you want the leather seats? Do you want the moonroof? So there's other things you can add because you can add silica, which I would actually recommend, especially for like training, especially if you're going into some type of like scrog setup. Silica helps with drought resistance, especially if you're doing crop steering with the drybacks and stuff. If you smack that flagrant green sensation to anything, it pretty much looks like it makes
Yeah.
some regular weed look like it fell down from outer space.
It's one of my secret weapons because I'm so blessed to hang out with the Jug Dealers
Right?
crew. They were nice enough to give me a quart of that, which I'm pretty sure costs $117,000 for one quart.
Eh,
I'm almost certain.
might be like $140, I think.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's lovingly one of the more expensive nutrients out there, but oh
But
my God,
it's
like Cortez said, it's a secret weapon. It's my secret weapon.
but you're using like 4
Nothing.
milliliters per
Yeah,
gallon. It's kind of like the
nothing.
silicium you're using, or winter frost. It's all like it is a high price on a bottle, but the bottle will last you for like a year.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've been speaking of which, I did a 7 days of silicium giveaway, and I have a unique day off of Dude Grows because Dude isn't back yet, and we got a good Know Your Breeder coming out, and we got
Who's coming
we're
on
gonna
the Know Your
interview.
Breeder?
We got Lemon Hoko. Awesome. I
Oh,
learned
okay.
a lot from
Yeah.
just chatting with this guy before we were talking about taping. He's an animal breeder. He breeds dogs and all sorts of different like species breeding, and then
It's
also
so
does that.
linked to cannabis, though. You know what I mean? Guys that
Oh
have
man,
bred like dogs and stuff because they already
it
understand like the Punnett square and the X's.
the idea of like because he's talking about breeding hamsters, like he's giving an analogy about
Huh.
like breeding weed, and it finally clicked with me for the first time. He's like, let's say you got a golden hamster and a white hamster, and they do this and that. It's like the first generation on this side is going to be two goldens, and I'm just like, all right. And then by the end of the explanation, I was like, dear God, phenotypic expression.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, Drew, you heard giveaway. Definitely. Someone mentioned Grambo, one of the Grow Hat giveaways. Actually, there is a giveaway. If you want to go over to the last video that I did, the last whatever the fuck it was titled, the last episode I had who did I have on last week? I can't remember. I cried last week, so it's a blur to me. But that episode had the link stapled to find PJ Johnson's Instagram, and if you comment on his Comedy Works New Faces post, you get in for the hat giveaway. And yeah, I'll do that tomorrow. So, but speaking of the silicium giveaway, I'm going to the mail. I'm going to the post office tomorrow. I have extra time this week, so I'm finally
Checks
going
in
to
the
get
mail.
to the and I'm sending one of the grow hats to Sea Bunny. She was nice enough
Ooh.
to get
Big
a
shout
hat.
out to the whole home grow the community, fam. Mama
Yeah, they look
Kush,
good.
Mr. Gannix, Papa Kush.
He completed
Cool
my
people.
my board of collect them all. I had Mama Kush on first, then I had Mr. Gallicanucas, and then Sea Bunny graced me with her presence. I've done the show 2 or 3 times,
That's awesome.
and she's never there. Sea Bunny's never there when I'm there, and I've done it 3 times. So I was like, oh, this broad just hates me, man. She hates me.
I got on there. I got on one of the Wednesday shows. It was actually pretty cool. It was a good time.
They're great people over there.
There's Mama Kush. Hell yeah.
A bunch of Canadians.
Big shout out. Hey, have you seen any of my new podcasts, Grambo?
Bearded Roots,
have you seen the one with Spaceman Grows yet on any of the cannabis photography? We just had the first episode of the new show, Sunday Sesh, drop on my channel today with Joof and the Beanstalk. But next Sunday, we're going to be going live with the new show, Sunday Sesh, and we're going to have Chubbs from Fast Buds Notoriety on there. So that's nice. Definitely going to be an Autoflower show there.
Hell yeah, dude. That's what's up. Make sure you follow all that stuff. See, here's the thing about I have an addiction, Cortez. I have an addiction. When people say like movies, TV, YouTube, when they say the words, have you seen? I just want to stop them right there. And I go, unless it's an audiobook, a freaking series on like how algorithmic discoverability works, self-development, jujitsu holds, like I have like 4 things and I just freaking I do this and I just fly through the cosmos.
You want me to be honest with you, Grambo? A lot of people will ask me about stuff, or they'll be like, oh, did you hear you got a shout out over here? And I'll be like, no. I try not to watch other cannabis content creators like too much because I don't want to be like influenced for my ideas. It's kind of like, you know how actors say that they don't watch like movie or TV when they're like preparing for a role?
A lot of comedians
don't want to be like
that
influenced or like subconsciously pick up on somebody else's talking point.
A lot of comedians don't watch comedy for that very reason.
What are you doing?
Just high. I don't know.
I'm high too. This fucking dab got me. Yeah, the dab got me pretty good.
Ooh, man, good stuff. So that's interesting.
Who was the superhero that Doug Funny used to do? Was it Quail Man?
Quail Man.
Yeah, you did.
I hate that I have that on tap for you. I'm the cable guy. Here's the other reason that I don't watch
it's the cable
is
guy.
that I had a TV and movie addiction my whole life, so I've seen everything. Scott calls me the cable guy because he'll reference like, man, there's this episode of Family Ties from the 70s. I was like, oh, yeah, I saw that.
Right.
In fact, I was talking to Mama Kush, and she referenced a Canadian like a warning thing about I don't even know what it's for. It's about these wandering house hippos. And it was like a Canadian only like infomercial from like the 80s. I've seen it. I know about the house hippos. I know. I've seen it. And so now I can't see anymore. I made when I started doing comedy, I started doing stand-up 2017, August 17th, 2017 was my first time doing stand-up.
It's like some Illuminati Freemason numbers you got going on over there.
Dude, my numbers, it's like
all going on.
I was rewatching, or I wasn't rewatching.
Add them up, they add up to the mark of the beast. 666.
Like, goddamn, I'm talking Illuminati, brother. Come on.
I mean that's part of why I joined the GramBoard.
Nacho
part
Man
of it
Randy
was
sandwich.
To get the emoji for the nondescript Go Fast cook. I got that when I pop up in the live chat now. But at the same time, I kind of felt like if I joined the GramBoard, it was like my foot in the door to get like that Illuminati invitation. Like eventually, like maybe you guys can get me in the algorithm a little bit more.
Oh, look who I found! It's Cortez the Conqueror joining the GramBoard for only $4.99 a month, and it's actually going to bear fruit. I'm going to the Emerald Cup this weekend. I'm going to meet JR.
Oh yeah, you're going with JR.
go. Yeah, we're gonna go represent Tiki and Cannabis and a whole bunch of other stuff. Lost Coast Plant Therapy out there, and I'm gonna take a lot of
I
Too
met
Hot
Dirk
for
at
TV.
the Cup.
Nice.
Hey,
Yes.
small suggestion. I've meant
Awesome.
to ask JR too. If you guys can find me a cut of Blue Dream, I'll give you as much money as you want.
Really? You want the original Blue Dream?
That the OG. What is it? The San Fernando Valley Blue Dream, or I don't know. It's Santa Rosa. Santa fucking something. I don't know.
I can't remember.
Crap.
I had my rendezvous
for
with
nostalgic purposes, and nobody wants to give it up. Nobody wants to.
That's funny. Well, if anybody, I tell you, hanging out with the Jug Dealer crew, man, oh my God. Like literally, I wanted a cut of Chem 4. And then like I meet P-Bud, the guy who popped the seed for Chem 4. Like I meet him, he's like, I'll give you a cut. And I was like, what world do I live in that I have that weed privilege? And shout out to Cannabis Vibes. He was in chat last week.
Grambo's Illuminati for real. He's been to a Diddy party or two.
No Diddy. No Diddy. I throw my own parties.
Take that.
Why is that a thing? I don't know what the hell is. Yeah, I remember Dr. Lee said the LSD. I remember the first time I went to Second City in Chicago, and they had a drink called the LSD. And I asked the waitress, I was like, why do you have a drink called LSD? She goes, Lakeshore Drive. And I was like,
have you ever been on LSD, but you were lost on Lower Wacker Drive? That's an experience.
Oh, I would freak out because Lower Wackers were Batman. That's Batman.
Yeah.
That's Gotham.
They filmed it.
You live in Gotham, dude. You live in Gotham, son.
I remember when they were filming the Michael Keaton Batman, one of the Michael Keaton Batmans. And they were driving like all that shit down the expressway on like the back of like open semi trucks. And it was like ratchet strapped. And it was like pieces of like Gotham, but you could actually, I seen like the Batman fucking logo. I think I was probably like 7-8 years old too, so it was like the coolest thing ever. Yeah, we were going somewhere. I was in the car with my mom. I'm like, mom, like I'm like about to jump out of the car. I was so hyper.
Yeah, I gotta because it's crazy when you're driving down Lower Wacker and you
show
like there's the entrance. And then, like, there it is.
It looks like a post-apocalyptic society. Like, there's people living down there, dude.
Every single time I drove on, so immediately we said Lower Wacker. It's like, dude, if I was on LSD on Lower Wacker, I'd just be walking around going, I'm Batman. You know? That's what I'd be doing. Yeah, I'm on one. I'm on one today, Adam. I don't know, dude. You know what it is for real, Cortez? I'm gonna take a second to get real with you for real.
Yeah,
Gabe. I bought this I bought a 1/4 ounce of live resin from Gabe. He had this live resin, and I'm a flavor smoker. You know, weed gets me high, but it doesn't like make me feel different, really. Like I've been smoking for fucking 28 years. You know, it's like it doesn't
something to really kind of like take you out your body. I smoke
this. Dude, it makes me happy and speedy and goofy. And so I bought a 1/4 of it and I went back the next like 3 days later and I was like, I want another 1/2 ounce. So I bought 3/4 of an ounce of this. This is all I have left. And it's the Gary, dude. This Gary Payton makes me feel like
Gary P.
happy. Yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That's me in the Blue Dream.
It is Cannabis.
That's me in the Blue Dream.
You can see how it separates. You see how fast I just stirred it about an hour ago and it's already starting to separate. You can see the darker stuff as the terpenes float to the top.
So I just packed a little bit of weed in here. I'm going to throw some Mondo on top of the weed, but I'm going to throw a little bit more weed on top of the weed.
Cortez is going to get himself beat up by a Star Wars nerd. He's like, it's a goddamn Mandalorian. It's the Mando. It's the Mando. I have my former roommate, shout out comedian John Maggs. He makes masks, like he's like a prop maker sort of character. And like we have like several
worst episode ever.
He's I mean, go, you know what? He's not doing stand up until he gets 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So if you guys like interesting comedy from a guy who's very, very dry and has weird opinions on nerd and LGBT culture and stuff, go check out John Mag's comedy. I'll give a shout out to Mags. He's
So he's kind of
he had,
like the comic book guy from The Simpsons.
no, he's like he's the new version of that. He's like a mountain man from New Jersey with this big beard. Yet he's got this turbo feminine side, and he's just super sweet and just loves nerd stuff. And he gets really fired up about like nerd culture. He's back. Fucking Lois Lane would never do that. You know, I don't know. You know,
I gotta see this, Grambo. Can you send me the link?
Oh yeah, let's see. Let's see. You guys want to see? So he is. This is actually cannabis adjacent because comedian John Mags is the one of the hosts and tour guides at the International Church of Cannabis here in Denver. So my roommate Nate and then my former roommate John Mags was they run the International Church of Cannabis. So definitely freaking yeah, go check out. So here's here's old here he is. This is his cartoon icon of himself, John Mags comedy. And let's see. Let's find him. There he is. Oh, he's doing full green screen. Look at this man. He's talking about Mr. Beast. What's he talking about here?
Longtime friend, Chris Tyson.
I don't know.
Around this time, Chris Tyson was
I don't know. Is it playing?
Of a degenerate artist named Shadman. For the full lore of Shadman, check out these videos by Turkey Tom. In it, he goes fully in depth.
That's John. Full green screen. Shout out to him. He's going hard on that. So he's got 718 subscribers. If you think he's cool and you want to know more about the International Church of Cannabis, and he does comedy shows. So John Mags, he hosts the comedy shows at the International Church of Cannabis. So on 420, there was 500 people. Maybe 250. Let me not exaggerate. The DGC Cup was 500. So it's about 220, I think.
Was it 500 this year?
Yeah, it was a big one this year, Cortez. Crazy, man, crazy. And so yeah, the on 420, man, you got 200 people smoking weed. Some of the best comedians in America show up. Yeah, it's a great time. So definitely around 420 if you're in Denver. If you're in Denver ever, I like taking, like, if I have a date, I like it's a great spot for a date, the Church of Cannabis. If you're dating someone who smokes, freaking it's the spot. So it's not just a plug for John Max.
Almost went the last time I was in Colorado, but I had to make a decision between going to the Church of Cannabis or going up into the mountains, and I chose the mountains over.
Well, you made the
Church of Cannabis.
You made the right move. So actually, here's the
smoked
video.
A bowl. Actually, this exact bowl, I smoked it on this big rock that was like in the middle of the water, but I like climbed out on the rock.
Look at this. So look at this, Cortez. This man started with Cheez-It.
I thought it was going to be
like things of Cheez-Its
with it, and I thought I was going to get everyone.
And so he started with Cheez-Its and like got it into the shape of a Mandalorian helmet, worked his way through it, and by the end of it, this helmet is hanging up in my house. It started with Cheez-It boxes and ends with a fully done Mandalorian helmet. Oh. How cool is that?
It almost reminded me of like Buckethead, but then it went a different direction.
Yeah, so that's my man. That's Johnny Mags over there. He's good people, man. He's a nice man. So if you like interesting comedy, go check him out.
Definitely some craftsmanship right there.
Hells yeah. So one of the things that obviously is the Autoflower question that I think you'll have some interesting input in is there's a lot of people that say you just cannot do any sort of stress training on Autoflower plants, but I've heard that's not true, right? You can give them a little.
I mean, I wouldn't if something happens, like sometimes like if I'm not using silica and I'm getting a little too aggressive with the low stress training, I might break a branch off or something like that. But with autos, I really try to be as low stress as possible. And another thing that I do, I let my main cola shoot straight up, and then I use 6-inch garden staples to tie the sidearms down. I try to find the 4 strongest branches, and I kind of make like a cross or like a compass out of it. And then I actually almost look at it like geometry, because then from those 4 things, I look at it like quadrants. So then the weaker branches, I try to fill it in kind of like equal spacing in between the 4 strongest ones in the quadrants. Since I use the garden staples, I'm kind of a masochist. A properly trained auto to me is something that's hard to hand water.
Okay.
Yeah. That's how you know you got like the best spread. That's how you know that you're getting the best light penetration. It's almost like an onion blossom when I open it up, and the main cola is just shooting straight up to there.
I don't think I had ever heard of a garden staple before. That's interesting.
6-inch garden staple. Best to get the galvanized, because those don't rust as easy as the uncoated steel. Get multiple uses out of them. You just wash them off.
Interesting. Hell yeah. No, those are the little tips. I always told people, like, one of the things that definitely fucking, what up, Scotty? Scotty should have been here earlier for Cortez's Grodots commercial that he gave for 17 minutes.
It wasn't that long. Come on, Grandma.
No, we were talking about how they are amazing for Autoflower.
Yeah, tell them about the coupon code, man. Got to try to save some people money. You know what I mean?
Cortez at checkout. Get that 10% off there. So
free shipping over $50.
Yeah, that's because I had like a few things that I wanted to ask about was environmental control, nutrient control, and the dots to make sure that you don't over love them. And one of the things that I have been really like harping on with people is like there's one of these concepts of we always call like over loving the plants, like essentially over watering them and everything.
Yeah.
And so like if you are over watering, more watering is not the solution. You know what the solution can be though is foliar feeding. I'm a huge foliar guy these days. Like that's why I got on the silicium train. You
actually made me think of something, not to cut you off, but with the dots, sometimes with autos too, you don't want to let your soil get too dry, because since they're time released, if there's a smaller amount of water in the dirt, it can actually burn it, because it's like a more concentrated burst when the time release goes up.
That's why. See, Cortez is good, Scotty. He forces you into a real growers thing. That's why you want to use the real buckets too, so that way you keep that nice moisture level. God damn, Cortez. He needs to get you on salary, not just on this thing. You're good, buddy.
If it works, it works. Even though I'm not the biggest cocoa fan, this was actually before any of the Dude Grows fame or notoriety. It was actually my first post that I got read on the Dude Grow show. The first one that I got put on YouTube was from my DIY real buckets that I made, but the ones I made had a 2-foot long PVC pipe. So I could fill the res from the 2-foot long section of PVC. But then I grew in that. I also grew in, it's kind of funny, we're calling it the OG real buckets, because I had the yellow buckets.
That's the ones I got.
Was like a couple lineages ago. I saw Spaceman. He got ones that are kind of like a little bit more chic.
Yeah, I gotta say it was pretty cool watching that whole thing go down behind the scenes. I got to watch it go from a guy like a mad scientist sitting in his workshop with 5-gallon buckets cutting the rim off. Like, I got an idea, and then it's like next thing you know, it's like here's Real Buckets 2.0. It's like, holy shit, you went from like tinkering in your freaking garage to like a fucking finalized futuristic product. Like, fast, man. I've been saying I'm real lucky in life. I got a lot of great mentors out there. So
I've
speaking of
definitely
mentors,
learned a lot from Scotty.
Yeah, he's the I can't even express to you like the amount of like literally the reason I do jujitsu is because like Scott finally convinced me. The reason I'm in therapy is because High C recommended a book that changed my life, and I was like, all right. Then I found the guy that wrote the book and like pay him.
I was saying like
money.
with the autos that I like using the garden staples, but when the limbs outgrow the edges of my pot, the garden staples aren't really effective anymore. So I'll take the garden staple out, but then I'll replace it with a 4-foot bamboo stake. And I'll use like the bendy garden wire that's got like the latex coating on it. But that was definitely from like my early days of like when I first got turned on to Dude Grows, probably like 4 or 5 years ago now. And just hearing Scotty talk about like, oh no, you don't use the scrog, you got to use the bamboo, but you got to be careful. Don't poke your eye out.
Is that your Scotty Real impression there?
Yeah, a little bit. But when you see the bamboo, like when you see my reels that I put up on Instagram where I'm using like the bamboo for the autos and everything, like that definitely came from stuff that I learned from Scotty on the show. And it's stuff that is just part of my regimen now that I use in my grow.
There's like weird beeping going off. I don't have anything in my house that beeps.
I don't hear it.
Yeah, no, it's like, what on earth?
Are you freaking out, man?
Well, I just like fucking, it's I got a little too much of that Gary Payton, man.
The snozberries really taste like snozberries.
Hell yeah! So, have you done much hash work with autos? Like, I don't know that I've ever smoked any Autoflower like live resin or anything. What's you ever washed or blasted anything? Yeah.
Pressed it, dab press.
Yeah.
It presses. I would say you probably get about the same return rate on autos. Autos might actually be ideal for, I don't really know how it works, but I know there's some people that just grow to blast oil, and you could probably do that in like 40, 50 days with autos if you were just running to blast it.
Drew, that's my favorite line of that movie, and that's how it opens. You boys like Mexico.
Mr. Gallicanuckus.
I see. So Mr. Ganix from Home Grow the Community, I have dyslexia, and for some reason, when I read Mr. Ganix, I see Mr. Gallicanuckus. I don't know why. Every time I go to say Mr. Ganix, I just say Mr. Gallicanuckus. So if I ever say Mr. Gallicanuckus, I'm talking about the Home Grow the Community fam.
That's kind of like, have you ever seen those like word puzzles where it's like kind of gibberish, but it tells you to like read it fast, but like the human brain, it makes sense? Do you know what I'm talking about?
It just blew my mind this week is that I didn't realize the New Millennium logo, like of New Millennium, it can be read backwards and forwards and upside down and forwards. It's like no matter how you hold it,
that's called a palindrome.
So a palindrome means rearranging. An anagram means recontextualizing. This is a panagram. It's like I don't know if that's even the right nomenclature for it, but it's an anagram and a palindrome.
In the Queen's English.
Combined. Right, mate, the old tween. I love the one of the things I've been thinking about with like the metric system. You even said it earlier. Here's how fucked up we are in America with the metric system. We will, as growers,
we go by freedom units or nothing.
We don't even go by freedom units. We combine it. Notice that you said milliliters per gallon.
Yeah,
that's how weird we are. That's using the metric system and the imperial. A gallon is standard. So like instead of milliliter per liter, which would make sense, we go milliliter per gallon, which doesn't. Why don't we use penny?
I got 5 gallon buckets that have like gallon markers on them. So I just go like 1 gallon, 2 gallon, 3, for whatever I'm doing. And then I got the shot.
I was an oxymoron back in the day.
And then I got the shot glass that's got the milliliter measures on it. So 1 gallon of this, and then I'm filling my shot glass.
That could be like a meme. Shout out! I'm gonna put the back call out to Dale's Dankness out there. It's like growers use their shot glasses for solutions. Growers never use their shot glasses for clang, and it's always like, it's a measuring shot glass.
Yeah, it's got like the little markers. It's got a couple different. I think it's got ounces on there too. It's got a couple different units of measurement.
Hells yeah. So it always goes fast as we get smoking on this. So we're coming up on the I can see the runway out in the distance out there. So as we start to land this plane, what should people know about autos, Cortez? Like, what's the thing? Like, people that are still skeptical, people that like have purchased them. Like for me, I have some night owl seeds up there, and I'm gonna pop them. I know how to pop seeds. I know how to get them all germinated, and I get them in my solo cup. So I'm going to say definitely once you got them in your solo cup, use the Cortez the Conqueror 3-cup solo technique. That's great. Chop that middle one all the way down, unwrap it. Get yourself some Velcro.
That way you're not taking up space with pots of seeds that aren't going to germinate.
So those are 2 huge tips right there. I love that. What should people know after that? Like I have the seeds. I'm pretty comfortable that I can get them popped and everything. After they're popped, that's when things start changing. As we wrap up, what should people know? Give them a final thought, some tips, whatever you think's important.
Like try to leave them alone. Try to leave them alone for like a month. Give them 30 days to just kind of do their own thing. Maybe do some defoliation here or there, but it's literally like maybe picking like 2 or 3 leaves, maybe 1 or 2. You know what I mean? But just let it grow. Let it keep going until you see signs of pistils. Then wait about another week after you see the pistils come in a little bit stronger, because it's flowering already, and then you can go in and do a little bit more of your defoliation. Then you can do a little bit more of your training, because flowering has already commenced.
So there's a huge tip. Are we burying the weeds? Should I pull out my board?
So if you do any stress to your autos, make it be about 7 days into flower, about maybe 10, maybe like 2 weeks into like solid pounds. You can do a little bit of stress, and you don't got to worry about ending up with the Charlie Brown Christmas tree.
What? That's a good one. I'm glad I wrapped up with that, because here's something I didn't even really know. I kind of looked at it just like one thing. It was fragile throughout the whole course of it. But once you get some pom-poms, hold her down and fuck her if she wants it. Make sure,
because even if you are a little too rough, the plant is a little bit more acclimated at that point. So
you can be too rough. You just got to make sure she wants it. You got to make sure of that. It's got to
be consensual. It's got to be consensual.
I'm a grower. I'm not a shower, Cortez. I'm a grower, not a shower. Like a scared farmer, I'm a grower, not a shower. Fuck yeah. Well, you as you are great with the promo, everyone in this chat for sure already knows how to find Cortez the Conqueror. But over the next few days, this might get a couple thousand views, and some people might not know where to find you. So if they missed it earlier, Cortez, where can people find you?
Well, the first thing I actually want to plug is the new podcast series with Canna, Alicia, and Distinct for Camping. So if anything, you guys really should check out the new YouTube channel, Sunday Sesh. Alicia, I see you right there. If you could drop the Sunday Sesh link in the live chat there so everybody can check it out. We got some huge guests. We got huge guests lined up, like some of the people you wouldn't believe that we got agreed to come on. So September is going to be a huge month. You guys definitely want to subscribe now and hit the bell notification. But it's going to be a weekly podcast that comes on Sundays at 3 Central, 4 Eastern.
Nice.
Next guest coming live this next Sunday coming up is going to be Chubbs of Fast Bud's Notoriety. So we're going to get into the Autoflowers on there too. But see, this is like a late night show, so I can let my hair down a little bit. These dabs are definitely kissing my ass right now. Hopefully I'll be a little bit more coherent over there.
Hells yeah, buddy. Well, as always, I appreciate you. It's you always come on with late notice, and I always appreciate that, my friend.
Yeah, definitely. Always here for you, Grambo.
Yeah. And may the Autoflower video get to 100,000, my friend. We're at 72,000. I don't know if it's got 100,000 in it, but it might. It might make it to 100.
I think it does. I think we're gonna cross.
But you know what? You know what? I always will measure a channel by. It's easy to like jam in some views, you know. But there's something that I call the 1,000 like club. Does your video have 1,000 likes? Because that's the real shit. Did enough people actually like your video? And I'm proud to say that we're at the 1,200 like club, Cortez. So,
or in the words of Josh Grambo, that there is no glory until 10,000 views.
I thought you were gonna say no glory till the hole. So stick it in, boys. I'll see you on the other side. All right, guys, this has been the Late Night Smoke. Usually join the GramBoard if you want. Cortez is GramBoard. You know, if you want to be GramBoard just like Cortez, you know, come over here, join. Just like Scotty K, Banjo, Cortez, Wisconsin, Crazy Days, Jill.
Do you guys want to join the Illuminati?
Big Van, which is a Coos, Bare Metal, Jimmy Anderson, aka Grambo for President, Alabama Man, Mark Jr., Chunky Nugs, Perry Gerhart, L420 DGC, and Fontucky, California.
My boy Tucky.
Yeah, he's my first. He's my first. You always remember your first, and I remember Tucky. I remember you, Tucky. So shout out, love you guys, and you know how we end this. We end it with the music. So thanks, Cortez.
We're dropping knowledge on Grambo Bros, talking about plants and how